So my first meeting for today was with Greg Gifford, who's going to talk to me about local SEO, Google My Business, Google Q&A, and Google Posts, and how that's important, plus his awesome tweeting that he does at many of these conferences. Well, thank you, Greg, for coming.
Hey, happy to be here.
Well, we're at Mozcon, right? So we're both here at the same time. We both didn't have to go too far to meet each other here, which is great.
Actually, I flew all the way into Mozcon just to do this with you.
That is amazing. That's a lie.
It's because I care.
It is a lie. You be honest. Anyway, he's on record. That's why he came to Mozcon. Any event, can you tell us a little about yourself?
So I do local SEO. That's my thing. I've been doing it for 12 and a half years at this point. I actually got into SEO as a black hat because way back in the day, I did Flash websites. And we figured out really quickly that Flash didn't show up in Google. And so we got together with our dev and figured out how to get him to show up in Google. And then shortly thereafter, that kind of went the way of the dinosaur, and I got another job and got into legitimate SEO and went, wow, all those things that we were doing were really against the rules.
And that was when? What year was the black hat stuff?
14 years ago, so like 2005?
2005.
2004, 2005.
Was that pre-Google Webmaster Guidelines?
Oh no, it was after the guidelines.
Oh,
we just didn't read them because we didn't know, we didn't care.
You see that a lot with like new SEOs. They just don't know there's guidelines
our whole thing was we made cool websites in Flash and they weren't showing up, so how do we get them to show up? And we did some stuff that we really shouldn't have been doing, but it worked.
Funny. Yeah, it's like a lot of the, I remember back in the old days, there were like sessions at SES about how to make your Flash websites do well in Google. And it was about cloaking pretty much, or just don't do Flash websites.
Yeah.
And that reminded me of like JavaScript as of like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, all right, Google's getting good in this in JavaScript and Apple killed Flash, so we're all good there.
Yep. So then after that, I got into automotive, and that's when I got into legitimate SEO, and just being in automotive, local SEO became important, and that was the early days of local SEO, and I kind of fell in love with it, and it just kind of became my thing.
That is your thing. You're known for the automotive space.
And local, yeah.
And local, of course. And automotive, you've been doing automotive and local for?
So I started in automotive 12 years ago.
12 years ago.
Yeah.
And that was probably around 2000?
About 2007, 2008-ish.
What happened? What was going on in Google in 2007, 2008?
Oh man, it was the Wild West. That was back when we used to have the 7-pack.
Right.
So tons of results in local, plus the regular 10 blue links, and I could go blow out a bunch of citations, and that's all I had to do to get somebody to rank. And it was really common that I would have a dealership that's like 45 miles outside of the metro area ranking #1 because we just out SEO'd everyone else that wasn't doing any SEO.
That's awesome.
So it was fun.
There weren't so many people into local SEO back in 2007.
No, like there's a small handful of us now. We were talking about it the other night that there's probably 5 or 6 of the kind of core top local SEO experts that we've been in it for 12, 13, 14 years. And other than that, most people that are the local SEO experts have come in the last 4 or 5.
Well, you guys, the local SEO community is just amazing. The SEO community is amazing, but I think the local...
We have our own little thing,
I love it. It's unique. So let's talk about your conference stuff. You're known as like a tweeting crazy man, I guess, at these conferences. You tweet unbelievable amount of information. You go to like almost every conference.
Yeah, I'll probably fly about 125,000 miles this year. I don't even know. I would guess I'm probably going to be doing in the range of 27, 28 conferences this year. So
27, 28, all in the SEO focus?
I did some automotive focused ones earlier this year.
Do you tweet on the automotive stuff too, or no?
No, usually at the automotive ones, we've got a booth. My company had a booth, so I was at the booth, doing the booth handshaking, talking about SEO thing. But I got into the live tweeting thing actually because of Mozcon. I just thought, years and years ago before I was a speaker, I was like, what can I do to make myself a more valuable person to the conference? So if I start speaking at conferences and I'm also live tweeting and have a big Twitter follow, seeing what I'm tweeting and I'm pushing out and giving more visibility to the conference, that probably makes them go, hey, this guy's a good speaker, but also this gives us more visibility. So that's why I started doing it. And now I do it. I was actually talking to Ruth yesterday, and now I do it because it's what makes me concentrate. Like if I can't, like when I go to conferences like that don't let you tweet,
right.
I'm sitting there going stir crazy because like I have to tweet. I don't take notes at a conference. I do all my tweets, and then I have if this then that recipe set up to drop everything into a Google Doc, and that's my notes.
That's awesome.
So my tweeting is my notes, but then I also do all the snarky GIFs and things like that. So
that always helps.
It's just it keeps me interested in the conference, and if I can't do it, it drives me crazy. So now it's just kind of my thing.
It's interesting. I used to live blog back in the day.
Yeah.
Live blog whatever they said, and that really helped me remember what they were saying. But it's tiring. I guess tweeting is a little bit easier just because you're pulling out nuggets, but it's also entertaining. So you have the GIFs and stuff to make it. So I really enjoy those tweets. So thank you for that. Doesn't it get expensive to fly to all these places, or?
Yeah, but all the conferences typically will cover. Well, not all of them. Most of them will typically cover the travel costs for the speakers. Especially all the international ones I do.
So you speak at 27 or so events, or?
Yeah, I mean, the vast majority of the conferences are covering travel costs, and then there's a few that don't. And the ones that don't, it's still worth going because A, I get to hang out with all my friends that are speakers.
Right.
But B, it's all about, most of us that are speakers are speaking because we get leads and we get business out of it. So if I have to pay, $700-800 to fly to Vegas to go do a conference, totally worth it because I'm going to sign up a client that's going to be worth way more than the $700 or $800 of that plane ticket. So.
And at this conference, you're talking about Google Posts and Q&A, right?
Yep.
So it seemed like, in my opinion, I don't know, from what I've seen, Google Posts was like, everybody has to do it. You got to do it. And then all of a sudden, in the past, probably like 6 months or so, it's like on a decline.
You know why, right?
Because it's less exposure.
Because it dropped down to the bottom of the knowledge panel. But the thing is, people aren't thinking, it's the same problem that we've always had with everyone just looks at desktop, they don't think about mobile. And on mobile, it's always been right at the top. There's even a tab on mobile where you can click posts to see the post. And now, just 2 or 3 weeks ago, they switched to a blended mobile SERP. So instead of showing all of your GMB info and then the organic links, now it splits stuff up. So you'll see the top line GMB info and then like a link to your website and then maybe a link to another property about you and then your reviews and then a couple other websites and then your posts. So now that it's blended, it's even more visible. And as people click on mobile to follow your business, as soon as they go back, they get fed those posts immediately. So even though it's lower on desktop, there's still a ton of views and a ton of click-throughs. So it's worth doing.
So you think it's worth doing?
Oh, heck yeah.
I find it funny that you say, right now it's blended, because like literally tomorrow, it could be like Google My Business and Google Local UI interfaces is the thing that changes the most.
All the time.
It's insane. It used to be, all right, Google search results will change here and there, but Google Local, how it looks on mobile and desktop is changing literally all the time.
In the presentation that I'm doing tomorrow, I didn't even show a screen capture of the new blended results because at the time I was doing the slides a month ago, I was like, by the time the presentation's happening, probably won't look like that anymore because it changes so often.
Yeah, and I cover changes all the time, and I'm like, these local things, like hotels, and especially when you get into like niche, it's like so rapid.
It's so crazy, and the stuff with car dealers too, because they have those, have you seen those big ads where like you search for like a Chevy Camaro and it'll show a big, and it's like a display ad, but it's a big image, and it's like 8 different things that you can swipe through, and then the very last one says find a dealer near you, and it switches to a Chevy dealer near me search, and only the manufacturers can buy those ads. So it's like, there's so many crazy, intricate things that they're doing for different verticals now.
Right, those are Google ads for automotive, right? They're the first to do the big display ads in there.
Yeah.
Well, Google has to keep changing it up. So what about Q&A?
So Q&A is huge because it's been there for a year now and most business owners don't know about it.
Right.
And so everybody's been doing research on it. I'll talk about some of the research we did tomorrow. GatherUp did a lot of research on it. And the main thing is questions are getting asked, but businesses don't know that those questions are being asked. And when customers or users are asking the questions, they're assuming that that's like a messaging system directly to the business, where really it's a community discussion feature. So it's not really meant to be, I'm asking a question to you, the business owner, I'm asking a question about this business to the community for anyone to answer.
Right.
So businesses don't even know it's there, and there's so many questions in there that are straight up sales leads that just get lost in the ether.
Not even that, I see people responding to questions not from the business that are like kind of mocking the company and making fun of the company.
Or they're totally snarky answers, and like I've got some fun examples in my presentation tomorrow of
looking forward to it.
Just goofy stuff. And like my favorite one, go do a search for the London Eye. That's the big Ferris wheel on the Thames River in London. And the questions work on an upvote system. So if a question gets at least 3 upvotes, in the panel, instead of saying see questions and answers, it'll actually show that question in the primary answer. And so it got upvoted because it's funny. And the question is, do you have to wear a helmet to ride the London Eye? And the answer is something like, you don't have to, but you can if you want. I believe Viking helmets are a popular choice. So it's really funny, and that's an example I always show that people laugh at, but the London Eye probably doesn't want that as a reflection of this is your first impression of our brand.
Right.
You know, which that happens all the time for businesses, that it's a really bad first impression because they're not paying attention.
And Google actually disabled it from working for a bunch of people, like White House and stuff like that.
Because you get too many snarky questions and bad answers. So
I just love when Google gives us features and then like either intentionally or unintentionally, like it gets abused either by the searchers or SEOs just have a field day with it. It just makes our community great, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In any event, I really appreciate you taking the time. Where can people
problem.
learn more about you and follow you and stuff?
Best thing is follow me on Twitter. It's just at Greg Gifford, so super easy. You can try to message me on LinkedIn, but I'm really bad about checking LinkedIn. So if you message me on LinkedIn, it's probably gonna be like 2 months till I answer you. So Twitter's definitely the best way.
How many people tell me about the LinkedIn? They accept all the friend requests or the connections, but yet when it comes to messages, they don't respond. Same thing with Facebook. If you message me on Facebook, I won't respond to you.
Well, my other thing too, and this is a thing for if you go to conferences and you talk to speakers, don't Facebook friend request people that are not friends with you, because that's something a lot of speakers kind of draw the line, because Facebook is for my friends and family. Same thing with Instagram. I've got pictures of my kids on Instagram. I'm not gonna no offense to you that I just met and shook hands with and talked to for 2 minutes at the conference, but we're not really friends. I don't really know you. I'm not going to have pictures of my kids and my house and my animals and my wife. So like that's why a lot of speakers won't do the Facebook friend request. That's why Twitter and LinkedIn are usually the best ways to do it. So.
My solution is I just don't post anything personal on any social network. Family, friends, nothing. It's just all SEO, which is boring. But anyway, I totally get it. And I get that. Facebook and Instagram, LinkedIn for business. Stick with Twitter, guys. Twitter's great.
Twitter's the best.
Anyway, thank you so much. Thanks for everything
thanks
you
for
do
having
for the
me.
community. It's amazing. And follow him on Twitter, not just for the conference tweets, but for everything. Thanks again.
Yep.